All right, you guys. Donovan Sadiq Show. I am Donovan Sadiq. Don't believe the hype. This is my section of it. I am with my partner in crime, local upstart, the awoke sister, Demetra K.
What up, y'all?
A lot of stuff's going on in the news, you guys. I want you guys to remember that we are a show that is trying to get you guys past the sound bites and really make you think, what is really going on? Should I really be saying what I'm saying if what I'm saying is not true, or what's out there that's not true? We want to get underneath the propaganda and all the other good stuff. But I want you guys to not forget, we are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, which R. Kelly was dropped from, by the way.
You know what?
I'm just letting you know. That's how important Spotify is. A lot of platforms are on there. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So check us out, and the Podbean cast as well. If you guys looked at the subject, we are going to be talking about Kamala HELLLLL-NAW Harris. And she is a senator, the former attorney general of the state of California, and she was a former prosecutor in San Francisco. So a lot of you guys know she did announce that she was running, and a lot of people, a lot of feminists and people that
are not, they know nothing about her, Kamala. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it's funny because us being Californians, just like Maxine Waters, we know what the black politicians are doing in California, but the people that support these national politicians like Kamala Harris now, they don't know her background or the history. And they're just thinking, wow, look, she said a soundbite. She was really hard on Kavanaugh, blah, blah, blah. And she's very direct.
Just like the whole Maxine Waters thing, I'm reclaiming my time.
Right.
It's cute.
It's cute.
But what else are you doing?
Right. You're reclaiming your time. What happened to those reparations, Aunt Maxine?
Right.
Why is your district the poorest and you're a multimillionaire now?
Right. But this is Kamala Harris's the time to shine. As Donovan said, she threw her hat in the ring to run for president 2020 yesterday. She officially announced that she is running for president for the Democratic ticket. And shortly after that, is to Donovan's point, black people were booing. Oh, yes. Kamala. Oh, yeah, she's got my vote. And so I just simply asked the question on my page. Are we, I said we, speaking of black people, are we voting for Kamala or nah? Of course, there was a whole host of people.
You know what I said.
Right, okay. You said hell to the no, okay? Which a lot of people did say that. But there was a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, I'm voting for her, this, that, and the other. And so on some of them, I asked why. Oh, and then, no, wait, not even, before I get to that, there were some was like, well, us black people, we just can't stick together. And I said, well, do you know why a lot of people are saying they won't vote for her? And it was like, well, we need to stick together. I said, it's not about sticking together. It's about figuring out who we're voting for, because I said, most of us voted for Barack Obama, and I'm one of them. I voted twice,
I voted.
I said, but we got duped by Obama. Let's just keep it real. I said, so we need to figure out how not to get duped again. And Kamala is going to have black people duped. I mean, even just of recently, she's been in the Senate for less than 2 years,
about 2 years. About 2 years now.
I mean,
she's been in the Senate as long as Trump has been in office.
Okay, so about 2 years.
2 years.
So, but we haven't heard her say anything about black people. Oh, I'm lying. She did come up with a law, and I'm not sure if they got it passed through Congress yet. I don't know if it
hasn't passed it. It was introduced.
So it's introduced. Now, this law is an anti-lynching bill with her, Tim Scott, and Cory Booker. That basically says making lynching a federal crime. And so, to me, that's the bone. We'll throw these black people a bone to say we're doing something.
We're doing something for y'all niggas.
If we follow the bouncing ball, you do it like this, right? Lynching is murder. Murder is already Capital One. Now, what's Capital One? That's a federal crime. So it's not a federal crime.
It's a state crime.
Well, no, lynching is Capital One. I mean, murder's Capital One.
Yeah, murder's Capital One. So, but it's a state crime.
I know it's a state crime, but it also counts as federal.
Right.
Yeah, capital, federal.
Right. Okay.
So,
gotcha.
It's like that's just smoke and mirrors. It's the banana in the tailpipe.
Exactly.
It's like,
I told Pastor Don the same thing. We keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
It is. Oh, well, you know what? Got this anti-lynching law, and murder is illegal. Like, okay, damn that. Forget all that.
Oh my goodness!
How about you Watusi your ass up to the Capitol? Because since you're the senator and with your homies, y'all making up these bills and shit. And for you guys who don't know anything about the anti-lynching law, they've been trying to get that bill passed for over 200 years. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Over 200 years, they've been trying to make anti-lynching like a thing. And to pass it through Congress, and for whatever reason, well, we know the reasons, but it hasn't been passed. And so here they are in 2018 when they first started the legislature trying to get this passed. And it's like, okay, listen, we got other things we could be doing. Like, how about you go up there and fight for some reparations, some real change, or to points I'm sure you're going to get into, Kamala, why don't you go up to and use your power to combat police brutality against Black people?
Yes. California, where you came from, has a massive problem with brutality. And yet she did
continuously drop the ball. And, you know, I wouldn't even say she dropped the ball, because when you drop the ball, that's usually like a Butterfinger thing. Like, oops, I keep dropping the ball. It's an accident. Kamala has purposely sidestepped helping people in need. When I say helping people in need, I'm talking about people in the criminal justice or injustice system, if you will. We know that disproportionately Black people are in the justice system, or incarcerated for things that they did not do. And a whole host of other things. I mean, we could go on forever. I was doing some research before we got on here, and Kamala has been an adversary to everything helpful to Black people, especially in the criminal justice system. For instance, we know that the body cam thing came about due to the brutality.
Niggas getting shot down in the street.
Well, I ain't gonna say niggas, because you know somebody gonna get mad with that. But but, you know, what Donovan said, Black people being brutalized and murdered by police officers. And, of course, we know up until the body cams came out, it was, well, they was running, or they reached from a gun.
Or the report doesn't reflect
I thought I saw a gun. Or
I feared for my life.
Or here was a pound of cocaine, but now the body cam shows you planting the pound of cocaine. So we know why that came into place. But Miss Harris... Kamala, as most people know her as, opposed that. Originally in 2015, she was against it. She says that she thought that states should be able to make that ruling on their own. And she didn't want to really implement it in California. But then in 2018, she switched gears and decided to go with it and say, okay, we need body cams. And so there's just a whole...
when it becomes popular, she's pushed.
It's not even that when it becomes popular. I think it becomes popular too, but she knew she was running.
Yeah, exactly. She pushes to that end. It's almost like when Hillary was against homophobia and whatever that stuff is.
Right, and all of a sudden LGBT.
She's running for president. All of a sudden she moved to the left.
Right.
Or wherever, left or right. Wherever you want.
Right, so she's now, a friend of the body cam and this, that, and the other. It is also said that she ruled in favor of police activity, especially if it was bad, because she didn't want to be on the bad side of the police. She wanted to be that friendly, she just kind of told the line. And she also missed a lot of votes in regards to things dealing with police brutality and regulating the police. So, and then there's not to cut you off, but there's another case that is very well known, especially out here in Riverside County. Kevin Cooper.
Yes.
Kevin Cooper in the early 1980s was an inmate that escaped from Chino men's facility. Men's facility. And while he was on the run or escaped, a family in Chino was murdered. Well, they pinned Kevin Cooper for the murder, and there was so much shoddy evidence that said that he didn't do it. And so this man has escaped the death penalty on a lot of times. And now, as of a couple months ago, they've granted him a new, I guess, evidentiary hearing to test some of the stuff, because even the complaining was the sole survivor of the family. He was actually, he was the son of the family. He says, originally he ID'd Kevin Cooper, but then he recanted and said it wasn't him, it was somebody else. And they have evidence that it wasn't him, but through DNA testing, it's just a nightmare. But she opposed him getting a fair shot. So she's been behind that, denying Kevin Cooper the opportunity to clear his name and to be freed or clear of that crime.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, we can go on forever, and Donovan has a lot of information, but Kamala is not our friend.
Yeah, and I'm gonna strongly recommend those that are for Kamala Harris. I'm not telling you who to vote for because it's the same party. The most popular politician in the country is AOC.
Right.
And notice that the establishment Democrats are not going to back AOC because, even if they did, they would rig the election like they did against Bernie because they get the same donors as the Republicans do. You don't want to upset the donor apple cart, which is what I said. But I'm going to ask you a few things, and I want to get your thing. And I want those guys listening out there. And I know we joke on the show and everything like that, but this is kind of a serious thing. And also in our second hour, if we have to overrun, you guys can pick up this conversation on Dee's channel, the Demetra K channel. So, but check this out. This is her position on abortions. Since her election to the Senate, and you can tell, I got this from Wikipedia, but you can tell her people have rewritten the Wikipedia thing. Since her election to the Senate, Harris has maintained a 100% rating by the pro-choice Planned Parenthood Action Fund and a 0 rating by the Pro-Life National Right to Life Committee. Now, from what you know about pro-life, could you please enlighten the folks on our pro-life stance?
Yes, well, pro-life is actually when you are against abortion. It doesn't sound like Kamala is necessarily against abortion, right?
That's what it sounds like.
Right. Okay. And so we know that disproportionately black women, so disproportionately black women have the most abortions. Now, white women have, and this is I'm trying to clean this up because I know I'm going to confuse people. White women have the most abortions, but white women make up more of the population than black women. So disproportionately, black women have more abortions.
Per our population. Which we're at 13%. White women are upwards of 60-something%. Right. So you guys do the math. And so we know that abortions is a number one killer in our community. In fact, there's been more black babies aborted than there have been Vietnam veterans killed in the war. Right. So that's a lot of people that have been. So she is for that. We also know that the abortion strategy was part of the eugenics program and invented or helped created by Margaret Sanger, who created Planned Parenthood. We know that Planned Parenthood is predominantly in black neighborhoods. And so she is for that, which means she's not for black people. That's a fact. This is what her people have written. She's pro-choice, and we have a problem in our community with the Black Holocaust that's going on with our babies.
And we know that it's a problem, but we're targeted. Right. And why are we targeted? That's what people need to start answering. Why are we targeted? Is because during the eugenics program, or they call it the Negro Project or something like that. That was to exterminate black people because after slavery, we were no good to America. We were considered
They want to reduce our numbers, right?
Yeah, we were a burden, the downtrodden and all that. So we need to get rid of them, the less desirables in society. And that was black people.
Right. Now, her stance on cannabis. Now, California is really big on the cannabis stance. Now, she was the attorney general when this was all coming about. As the attorney general, she took a stance of going against legalizing cannabis. But this is what her people say as of yesterday. In May 2018, Harris announced she would co-sponsor the Marijuana Justice Act, which Senator Cory Booker introduced in August 2017. Oh, she's a bandwagon hoe. The legislation would eliminate marijuana status as a Schedule I drug under the Controlled Substance Act. The move would also require federal courts, to expunge the records of Americans who have prior marijuana convictions related to use of or possession. She believes the move to decriminalize marijuana will prevent the Justice Department from enforcing laws that are unjust and fair. Now, that's a good start. But however, I live in California and I fall under the California laws in regard. When I get locked up, it ain't the FBI or whoever, unless I'm a mass distributor, locking me up. It's the local police people. Right. So how is a federal legislation going to help me if I'm not charged with a federal crime?
Well, and to that point, we know that, again, disproportionately black people are targeted for violating, if you will, marijuana laws. And we know that there's a lot of black people locked up for a nickel bag of weed for 10, 15, 20 years. And she opposed that. Her opposing that law also opposed people getting out of prison for being over sentenced. And so she was against doing that.
Right. And like I said, she had the power as the Attorney General of California.
Correct.
To put a significant thing on it to change the thing. Now, as I read these things here, I want, especially my black audience, which is probably our only audience, our black audience to listen though to what we're saying. And then you tell me, just like Barack Obama, what has this woman done for black people? And I'm going to give you the end caveat, and I'll save that for the end because I don't want Dee to interact with it. But anyway, the death penalty. This is her stance on the death penalty. And this, like I said, her people wrote this probably yesterday, last night.
I'm sure they had a lot. Because usually it'll say, too, when it was...
I didn't put that part out. But Harris is opposed to you could tell somebody, her people wrote that. Harris is opposed to the death penalty. See, anyway, she is opposed to the death penalty, but has said that she would review each case individually. If you're opposed to the death penalty, it doesn't matter what case comes up. You're opposed to it.
You're opposed to it.
So, but individually. So what is she saying there?
I need to see if you were there.
Yes. Her position was tested in April 2004 when San Francisco police officer Isaac Espinosa was murdered in the Bayview district. Harris announced that she would not seek the death penalty for the man accused of his killing. So as prosecutor, she's selecting what she's going to do and what she's not going to do. The decision evoked, if you're pro-life, you're pro-life. If you're,
I agree.
I'm pro-life, so I don't believe in abortion and I don't believe in the death penalty. You can't be, anyway. The decision evoked protests from the San Francisco Police Officers Association. Wow, the Police Officers Association is against her. Senator Dianne Feinstein, who she is the junior senator with, and others. Those who supported her decision not to seek the death penalty included the San Francisco supervisors Tom Amiano and Sophie Maxwell, in whose district the murder occurred. The jury found the convicted killer, David Hill, guilty of second-degree murder, although the prosecutor, Harry Dorfman, had sought a first-degree murder conviction. The defense had argued that Hill thought Espinosa was a member of a rival gang and that the murder was not premeditated. Hill was given the maximum sentence for the conviction, life without the possibility of parole. Harris's position against the death penalty was tested again in the case of Edwin Ramos, an undocumented immigrant and alleged MS-13 gang member who was accused of murdering Tony Bologna and his sons, Michael and Matthew. On September 10th, 2009, Harris announced she would seek life in prison without the possibility of parole rather than the death penalty in the Ramos case. Harris has expressed, now, where was she at when the Tukey Williams thing was going down? They put him to death, didn't they? Think about it.
Right.
Harris has expressed the belief that life without possibility of parole is a better and more cost-effective punishment. According to the California Commission on the Fair Administration of Justice, the death penalty costs $137 million per year. If the system were changed to life without possibility of parole, the annual cost would be approximately $12 million per year. Harris noted that the resulting surplus could put 1,000 more police officers into service in San Francisco alone. When in 2014, U.S. District Judge Cormac J. Carney declared capital punishment in California unconstitutional, Harris reviewed the case.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
I got to do some research on that.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
But right there, that tells you she, like Hillary, I'm with her.
She flip-flops a lot.
She goes to what is popular.
Uh-huh.
If it's popular at the time. Her stance, so far, what I'm reading here is a Republican.
Sounds like one to me, yeah.
That's what I'm reading, a conservative. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there listening saying, oh, y'all just tearing another sister down.
You know what? Now, subscribe to the bump all that. We're not even going to run from that. Some people need to be torn down.
Right.
If it's being done, with mathematically proven and with facts and all that, some people need to be torn down. And, yes.
Right, exactly.
We are.
Exactly. And then, again, a lot of my brothers and sisters out there that you guys are listening and you don't live in the state of California, I'm not saying to be negative to you or anything like that, but you guys are too busy living your lives in your state. You guys are going by a soundbite. A soundbite.
Right.
You got to really do the research. So, disaster relief. In August 2018, recently, Harris was one of 8 senators to sign the letter to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, charging the agency with not assisting displaced homeowners in Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria under the Individuals and Household IHP program at alarming rates. Stop. She is now helping our fellow brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico. I have no problem with that.
Well, I mean, it's part of the United States.
No. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
They're shooting black people down in the street. Why isn't that a concern of hers?
She's getting to it.
She's getting to it.
I mean,
reparations. Where are the reparations?
Just wait for her brother. She gonna be all. I'm sure that's all in the can, ready to be talking points because you know.
Got it.
I think Kamala realizes that she has severely dropped the ball on Black people, and I believe she's gonna try to do some cleanup jobs and PR stuff. This is what I've done for Black people. I've done this for Black people. I've done that for Black people too.
Right. But like I said, according to her people who wrote this, I haven't seen anything for Black people at all yet. And don't get me wrong, I know Puerto Ricans are dark skinned too, but that they're of Hispanic origin and or Latin descent.
Well, I mean, she spent most of her time in California, so what has she done in California?
Right, you're the senator from California, so what are you doing to bring home?
And the attorney general, and what else was she here?
She was a prosecutor.
Yeah,
she's a prosecutor. Education. In interviews with Matt Lauer, sexual predator.
Stop.
On the Today Show and local KGO TV, Harris argued for treating habitual and chronic truancy among children in elementary school as a crime committed by the parents and truant children. So basically, she's arguing that, we're going to lock the parents up. That sounds like a conservative to me.
Exactly what it sounds like. I mean, it's like, so most of these parents who, I mean, if you just do the math and look at statistics, most of these kids who are truant are probably from low income families and have some issues. I'm not making an excuse for them not to go to school. So why would you make the parents a criminal, making it harder for them to get over? It's like, lady, really?
Wow. She's, again, it's amazing. 2017, Harris announced at a town hall in Oakland that she would co-sponsor fellow Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill supporting single-payer health care. She did do that. But again, Bernie Sanders was and still is one of the most popular things. She moves to where the needle is going. She jumps on the bandwagon.
She flip-flops a lot.
Right. And 2018, Harris was one of senators to sponsor the Choose Medicare Act, an expanded public option for health insurance that also increased the Obamacare subsidies and rendered individuals with higher income levels eligible for its assistance. Again, something that is already enacted. She's just padding her resume. That's called a resume pad because it's already there. You've got to improve it. But she wasn't a senator at the time, but when Obamacare came into existence. But the point is, I don't remember her stomping as the attorney general in California. Matter of fact,
I don't either.
She was silent during the Obamacare debate. No, she didn't sue the federal government like a lot of other AGs did in other states, but she was silent on the position.
Right.
So that's just something people got to know about. In December 2018, last month, Harris was one of 42 senators to sign a letter to the Trump administration officials, Alex Zarza, Seema, or whatever these other people are, arguing that the administration was improperly using Section 1332 of the Affordable Care Act to authorize states to increase health care costs for millions of consumers while weakening protections for individuals with pre-existing conditions. The senators requested the administration withdraw the policy and re-engage with stakeholder states and Congress. Again, another padding thing. All she did was threw her lot in with somebody else. It didn't say there that she championed it.
Right.
He didn't say she was in the forefront. She said, oh, wow. Well, yeah, let me sign on to that. My favorite, California Senator, immigration.
Uh-oh. Watch out now.
Harris has expressed support for San Francisco's sanctuary city policy of not inquiring about immigration status in the process of a criminal investigation. Why would a sitting senator not care about immigration? Any idea?
You tell me.
Because senators have to be voted in by the state. It's a state election. So you would be a dumb senator to make a hardcore stance on the immigration situation.
And what is California predominantly made up of?
Hispanic. Used to be Mexico. Those are the facts. So, no big deal. So she's not going to make a hardcore stance on that because she needs those votes. She needs those votes. Well, not only is she going to make
she actually has taken a hardcore stance in that she has been a staunch advocate for DACA and crying about the kids in the cages.
I'm getting to that. So Harris argues that it's important that immigrants be able to talk to the law enforcement without fear. On October 25th, 2017, Harris stated that she would not support a spending bill until Congress addressed the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program in a way that clarified what we are going to do to protect and take care of our DACA young people in this country. She did not support a February 2018 proposal by some Democrats to provide President Trump with $25 billion to fund the border wall in exchange for giving Dreamers a pathway to citizenship. Look at her taking that stance for those illegal Hispanics. Love it.
And I just got a few questions as you was reading that. I'm just like, what about black people speaking to the police without fear?
Do you guys see where we're going with this? Do you see where we're going with this? Why is it that these black elected officials go so hard for everybody else?
You really want to know?
Yes, I really want to know. Please tell me.
They go hard for everybody else because I'm voting for her because, she just...
I'm with her.
Right. I'm going to vote for her. Y'all, I don't want no one to stick to... And it's funny how those be the Negroes that talk about y'all don't want to stick together with black people, but everything else black, you ain't shit. Your part side of the Velcro don't work. You don't want to stick together. But it's like when it comes to amen some dumb shit, we need to stick together. And voting for Kamala is some dumb shit. I hate to be... I made this joke earlier when I was talking to my man. And really like with the Chris Brown thing, I said sometimes, and I'm joking, I want to jump my ass in a vat of bleach and run around with a blonde wig and just be done with it all. Because this is like, and I even asked my daughter, I said, Deanna, maybe you can help me. I said, what's wrong with us? She was like, what? I was like, what's wrong with us? I don't get it. Why are we advocating for Kamala Harris? And every time my sister, I love her to death, and I'm not trying to throw her under the bus, but she was one of the ones, well, she's not Obama 2.0. She's, very aggressive. And I said, okay, great. What is it that you like that she's done? And she says, well, nothing that I can think of. She says, nothing that I can think of. And so I actually had to get on the phone and call her and talk to her. And she was like, well, what was Barack Obama supposed to do? Give us 40 acres and a mule? I said, no, I don't think he should have did. He was supposed to do that.
He could have made an attempt.
Yeah, he could have came closed down. Could have got a bucket
Executive
of chicken.
order. Executive
give
order.
Me a bucket of chicken as a coupon, something. Or something.
Executive order.
But,
possession is 9/10 of the law.
Right. And so I broke it all down to her. She says, oh, well, I didn't know all that. So stop caping and cooning. For people, you have no idea, because that's how we end up getting screwed over. So to your point, we just go with the okie doke. We go with the talking points, even not to keep bringing up R. Kelly, but like the Lifetime thing. Lifetime told Negroes to be mad, and niggas was mad for 2 weeks, up in arms with stakes and fire sticks in their hands.
It reminds me of old Frankenstein movie.
That's exactly what it was. And now, wait. Hold on. Did you hear that pin drop? I did. What happened? Did the victims get help? Did Lifetime? What? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
So now they're telling us, y'all know Kamala's. She's running.
Right. Oh my goodness!
Wait, why are you excited?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, everybody else is.
No, I'm just a raving lunatic. I just go with the soundbite.
Well, I did because it's like when they get to shooting in the area, everybody's like, why you running? I don't know. I heard somebody shooting. Man, that was a balloon popping.
Yeah. Do you ever see that video where the guy just starts running and he sees people go run, and they just start taking off with him?
And that's us.
That's us. Exactly.
That's us.
Exactly. Environmental policy. Now, right here in the Inland Empire, if those of you guys don't know, look it up. In California, we have an area that is 60 miles outside of Riverside, or Los Angeles, I'm sorry. And it's called the Inland Empire. And here's where they've made their warehouse empire. And a lot of pollution is going on. Kamala Harris came down to Eastvale. And she was going, as AG, she was going to sue the city. And then she goes for the senator. We haven't heard nothing about it since. But we have a lot of pollutants here, a lot of diesel fuel in the air and stuff like that. The city of Moreno Valley, Riverside, and some environmental groups asked the AG at the time, when she was the AG at the time, to come back and sue some of these pollutants that are happening in other cities in the Inland Empire. We haven't seen her since.
She's like, wow, that's below my pay grade now.
Right. We haven't seen her since. And there's other things you guys can look at. Her foreign policy. She's a senator, so she doesn't have any foreign policy experience as of yet. But she condemned the chemical attack of the Assad regime. Doing, like I said, all that stuff is padding. We can go on. Her stance on guns. Harris has earned an F rating from the National Rifle Association for her consistent efforts supporting gun control. Now, you're the AG of California. You come from one of the most violent areas where the and let's be real, folks. Crips and Blood started in California. Okay, that's just a fact, and I'm not trying to glorify it, but what I'm saying is, you're the AG of a state that has a prolific gang problem, and you're trying to disarm the citizenry.
Well, I mean, and then she was predominantly in Sacramento,
yes,
Oakland area up north, and so there's a lot of us up there. So she was just probably that chick, cooning, for lack of better words. We need to get some gun control. I'm sure that was her whole stance. But to your point, I mean, we need guns.
We need guns here.
Everybody else has guns. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about it all the time. Says you only notice the Turn Into Guns campaign is in
the
our
black neighborhood.
And then talk about I'm gonna give you a coupon. Or a gift certificate. Mm-hmm. Or, some insignificant. Yeah. Okay, is this coupon the Winco going to stop a bullet?
Here's a $300 gun that you bought behind Ray Bay's trunk on the street, and they want to give you a $15 coupon for the gun.
Right. So it's like, let's be honest, we need guns, but we need to educate ourselves on why we need guns. It's just taking away the guns. I mean, hell, if it's going to go down, and I believe it will eventually.
It will eventually.
What we going to do? But Lord Jesus, I just come to you right now in the name of Jesus. I ask you to stop that bullet. It's coming toward me. And I just ask you, does Jesus be a bulletproof vest?
Well, so those are some of the things that I want you guys to look at, and there's some other stuff that's just padding. She hasn't really done anything in 2 years as a senator that I would say, oh yeah, let me back her. She's a okay. Here's the problem. You have to be a progressive. The millennials are now the majority population in the United States. AOC, Alexandria, whatever her name is, Cortez, yeah, whatever it is. Everybody knows her by AOC. She's the most popular politician in the country. You have establishment Democrats. As soon as Kamala Harris got up there, she aligned herself with established Democrats. What is the definition of insanity?
Keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
A different result. Now, AOC has come in and she said, nah, fuck that. We ain't doing that. I mean, she was challenging the establishment.
And they don't like her.
And they do not like her. Mm-mm. I mean, they didn't even want to sit Nancy Pelosi until Nancy had to give them something.
Right.
And that's what it's coming down to, people. The old way of doing things. The way I look at it, Kamala Harris, I don't see this woman doing anything. I haven't seen in her record. I'm a California resident for 49 years. I haven't seen anything in her record where she's done anything for black people. And let me top this off. Just a little soundbite. They didn't put this in here. She married her lawyer husband in 2014. She has no children, but she has stepchildren. She was in a relationship with Willie Brown.
Well, hold on to that. Wait, hold on to that.
Willie.
Really just to drive some things home. I saw some things in an article that deserves some attention. Because especially with black people, police brutality. And the wholesale murder of black people by the hands of police is a big thing, and just black people not getting a fair shake. We know that oftentimes police officers and police departments frame people of color for things they did not do. There's a lot of us sitting in jail for things we didn't do. And one of them at this point here says, time after time, when progressives urged her being Kamala, to embrace criminal justice reform as a district attorney, and then the state's attorney general, Ms. Harris opposed them on or stayed silent. Most troubling, Ms. Harris fought tooth and nail to uphold wrongful convictions that have been secured through official misconduct that included evidence tampering, false testimony, and the suppression of crucial information by prosecutors. Another thing I saw, it says, let's see. Okay, this one says in 2015, she opposed a bill requiring officers to investigate shootings involving officers. And she refused to support statewide standards regulating the use, as we said, that of body cams or whatever. So, again, black people are predominantly affected by those things. What else did I see?
Did you see anything to where she is doing anything for black people? Because it's funny how she harps that she's part black and Indian, but her actions doesn't show anything that she does is for her
there's
heritage.
a podcast that the Advice Show featured yesterday, which was really
Phil
awesome.
From the Advice Show. Okay.
Called, I think it's Naya Says.
Okay, yeah.
Naya Says, and he featured her podcast. And she says, don't get it confused that, yes, Kamala is black and white. Her dad is of Jamaican descent, and her mom is of Indian descent. And so she was saying that both of her parents are not from here. They're immigrants. And so she doesn't understand the black experience as we understand the black experience.
Or we expect her to understand the black
even though she's gone through a black college and all of that kind of stuff. But she still does not understand being black the way we do.
Right.
And she also made the good point in saying that's probably why she does some of the things she does legislatively the way she does, because,
her perspective is
and unfortunately, she's going to use being black to her advantage to get us over, because I don't care what nobody says, black voter sways elections. It does.
Absolutely.
And so she's going to need black people, even just to get to be a nominee, to even, to get through the preliminaries and all this other stuff. She's going to need black people to do that.
Right. And the Black Hawks can go, oh, yeah, girl, Cheryl Lee and all those. Right. Oh, yeah, girl, we behind her. And John Lewis, we need nothing new in the thing. And we're going to keep fighting. We got a long way to go. But I want you to know, keep fighting. And did I tell you that I marched on that bridge, the Pettus Bridge in Alabama 50 years ago? I almost lost my life. Keep hope alive. I march with King. That's how the guy talks.
Yeah, my stomach is hurting.
Respectfully, was that a good impersonation? Because that's how he talks.
Hell, I thought it was.
Okay, you don't understand.
My eyes closed, and I was like,
there you go.
Is he here?
That's how this guy talks. And like I said, you got all these handkerchief heads running around here telling us who our leaders are. Here's the thing, and this is my opinion. Even if Kamala Harris gets the nomination,
which she won't,
and she won't, in the general election, she will get her head beat in because she's not progressive enough.
And the other cold part, all she needs, and I believe that this will happen. All she needs, or she don't need, is a Mexican to jump in the race. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap,
girl.
It is a
all
wrap.
That caping and cooning she was doing for DACA and all that is going to be a wrap.
But so you guys that are listening, so I know we're getting to the point where we're laughing and joking. Like I said, we haven't even addressed the Willie Brown thing. Now that's an old hoe when you're gonna get with a guy that was born in 1934. Now, true story. Demetra and I went up to the Capitol and we met Willie Brown. We met Willie Brown.
We did.
We met him. Now we're in this meeting and all of a sudden Willie was in the lobby. I had gone to the bathroom, so I had talked to him out there and I seen him, I'm thinking, oh, that's Willie Brown. How you doing, dog? What's up? Gave him some dap, hey, what's going on, man? You still hitting that weed? What's going on? Right? And I go sit down. The word gets out that Willie. He is in the lobby. I never saw so many old hoes jump up. I'm serious. And am I lying?
You're not lying.
These women jumped up in the meeting and ran to that lobby just to meet Willie. Now look, I'm not hating on Willie. Look, his pimp game is strong.
It was strong.
It was
so strong to even one of the women was like, Demetra, come over here. I want you to take a picture. I mean, I was like, well, what's the emergency? What's going on? And it's Willie Brown, and she's like, oh, it's Willie Brown. I'm like,
brother, look. Yeah, brother, look. And then I did not even know until I did my homework for the show today that Kamala Harris had dated him for a significant amount of time.
And that's what Naya said. I hope I'm saying her name right. God, I got all choked up laughing.
Sorry.
She talked about that, saying that
she got put on.
Well, she got put on by putting out for Willie Brown.
There it is. Look, and nothing against Willie, brother. 1934, and you're dating a girl that was born in 1967.
Well, I don't have to know what position was this. I mean, other than what he put her in.
Yikes.
Willie Brown is old as a motherfucker.
Right.
Like my daddy was born in 1944, so that make him 85 damn near.
My grandfather was born in 23 or something like that. And he's still alive kicking. He's in his 90s. Yeah. But like I said, I'm not mad at Willie, but what I'm saying is, obviously he didn't marry her, but what depths will this woman go to get where she wants to go.
Yes,
she obviously. Those must have been some gray nuts. I mean, I can't imagine being a young person and having to see all that gray. You know what I mean? It ain't like he was running around. Well, I heard Willie be like doing the G Street thing and stuff like that. I mean, he's a G.
Well, just know that. Okay, let's just do some timeline here. You know, like in the 70s.
Yes.
Razors wasn't popping.
So
imagine they wasn't even invented in 1940.
Exactly. He old school brother.
Get down there and weed through all of that.
Yeah. Don't worry about that afro down there. I might not have no hair up here. I got plenty down here.
It's transitioned.
Exactly. But but that makes me wonder. And don't get me wrong. A lot of people, establishment Democrats, targeted her to be a rising star in the established Democratic Party.
Why though? That's what I wonder. Why is she a rising star?
Because she was willing to do and bring those votes out and play that role. Whereas AOC, who's the most popular politician in the country,
she is.
They don't want to give her no love.
I mean, even you've heard people say that Kamala is Barack Obama.
How?
Barack Obama Jr. She's the second coming of Barack, and I'm like, is that supposed to be some good shit?
Yeah, is that supposed to be good? Because Obama didn't do. And like, don't be wrong, I love Obama because, and I'm telling you, the reason why I love Obama is the fact that I know why he was put there. So I don't blame him for doing what he had to do because the country was so fucked up. It would take 8 years to get out of it. And remember, they obstructed him for 6 years.
Well, I mean, let's think about the other side that's not so lovable about Barack. And we talk about this all the time. You know, him and his gal, Hillary, and Watusi their asses over to Libya and destabilize the government, killing Gaddafi and making slavery, fashionable over there. So,
exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things like that. But like I said, being the first black president, so, like I said, I don't blame him, but I understand why he was put there. He had to stop the Occupy Wall Street movement. We've been sitting here ever since waiting for something to happen. So now they say, you know what? We just gave this big tax cut to the rich. Oh, we need another. Barack Obama. Look, a woman, so-called black.
That's light-skinned, that look like him. She's
right. It'll get the woman's vote.
And that's what I asked my sister, too. I said, I need to know.
Don't be talking about my boo.
Well, I mean,
Well, family. It's a family thing, so go ahead.
I had to, I was curious because I said people say they want to, they will vote for Kamala. I said, is it because she's good looking? She's, she's that.
Because if you go by her record, you can't be going by that.
Yeah. And I said, does she remind us of Obama cosmetically and that she is light skinned mixed and charismatic and, she talks and walks
really
tall
nice and she seems like she's very.
Yeah. And I said, or is it because of the things she's doing? And she says, well, I don't know. I said, those are the things we need to,
think about.
Yeah,
exactly,
we do.
Exactly. Hey, you guys, like I said, we're not here to bash the person. We're here to give you the basically the facts that are put out by her team of her achievements and everything that we've read you. And there's more to it. Not one of these things is for black people. And that's the vote, like you said, she has to count on to get her over the hump. But even if she made the general election, Trump's going to beat her head in. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, there ain't one thing white America do not want.
Well, think about it. A white woman couldn't beat him.
So you know her
with a resume, 30-year resume.
How she talked to Kavanaugh too.
Exactly.
You ain't exactly. You don't talk to this good white man the way you did.
Exactly. If Hillary Clinton, with a resume as prolific as her resume was, couldn't get elected, what makes you think a black woman, so-called black woman, is going to get elected?
Well, maybe they're like she doing something strange for the change.
If Willie let that secret out about that tongue trick she does, So, but anyway, look, we're going to go into the second hour. It's going to be Demetria's part. We're going to continue this conversation because what I want to talk about in the second hour is the Hillary effect and what was going on with that, as well as who should we be voting for?
All right. Well, who knows? Shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a very, 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 very tough call because, again, if you're voting for somebody because they look like you, what do you always say? Just because they look like you doesn't mean they're for you.
All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Everybody ain't for us.
Exactly. So, you guys, and again, check out Dee on Sundays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can guys talk to her live on Facebook Live. Real great conversation last week. Oh, and also I want to tell you guys, Facebook has a new policy. If you're not engaging in the thing, they don't like share. And I'm in jail till the 27th again.
Well, damn.
But if you're not engaging, then they're not going to share your post. So please share and like Demetra's thing, and let's get the conversation going and make sure that we have the ideas. Because if you agree with this or you don't agree with this, tell us why. So we're going to see you guys in the second hour. So just please stand by.